Well, it's another day in the studio today, and you know what? I'm excited about this. We got quite a whole team here. Can I even show you what's in the back room here? Listen, they say that it creates a problem, but I just want to sneak in here real quick. Dun-da! Hi, guys. Just want you to see we have a whole team that is ready to go to work today. Will, what do we got? Oh, yeah, I want to talk about this for a second. Hold on. Ultimate Life Strategy is what I'm going to be teaching on. Open up the manual for them. It comes with a manual kit, 4 DVDs. This is where I'm going to be going up here to the board where we're going to go into in-depth analysis of all the content. By the way, while I'm talking, while I'm training, while I'm teaching, if you're interested in getting this kit, the training system that's for how to identify where you are in the path of destiny, assignment, calling, gifting, getting into the slipstream of what God called you to do, go to lancewallnau.com/strategy. That's where this is going to come from. Now let's get into today's training. So what we've talked about so far in this training is that in order to come to the place where you're actually like the race car that's moving in kind of a harmonic convergence with its design at 225, 230, 240 miles an hour, boom, the race car driver says everything goes quiet. The vehicle stops shaking, rattling. Even the engine is quieter because it's no longer managing unused capacity. It's at the design stage for what it's built to do. And I'm saying that that's a metaphor for life, that you're meant to be driven on purpose, that you have a purpose for your life, and that your vehicle or the gifts, talents, and abilities God gave you lead you to a purpose, that God actually has prepared things for you to do. That's the reason why the prophetic for so many people in the charismatic community is such an intriguing and sought out phenomena, because the intuition that there's a design for life and a design in history, that some people can reach into the future and part the curtain and show you what's coming, is part of what we know as a prophetic faculty. In your life, God wants you to be able to have a personal prophetic view of what your calling is. That's convergence is the intersection. Let me put it this way. Convergence is kind of like a nuclear phenomena where your gifts, talents, and acquired skills, notice I said acquired skills, things you learned along the way, come together to create in you a unique gifting that fits a certain role. And for the purpose of our illustration, I'm going to put the word role here as an envelope. What you're waiting for is for life to give you a job that matches what you're uniquely called and capable of doing. Whenever you step into a taste of convergence, it's in your history. You'll see it in the timeline of your experience. So let's move over this way for our purposes for this, that in your life you will have moments. I want you to see this as God has a call for you. It's kind of like heaven has this spotlight on you. And here you are. Put a little cane and a little hat in your hand. Here, you're ready. You're ready to step into the performance of your life, right? And here you are ready, but you'll notice that in your life experience, you're doing work that isn't there, and then you go, whoa, I really experienced something unique there, and then you're doing other stuff you don't like, and then you experience these moments that you have when you were doing theater as a kid or when you were doing some athletic. Those moments when you encounter that dotted point is when you were lining up with your actual ultimate calling, gifting. It was, in a sense, it was a taste of utilizing 100% of your dormant potential to do something ultimately. But, you know, you wish you could stay in that zone. Well, there's some challenges. For one thing, you have to monetize that zone. If you don't get paid to do it, then you can't go there. Then it's called a hobby. But what I want you to catch is it's possible for you to be able to enter into living in that, and that's when you are fulfilling your calling. And God releases people to their calling in phases. And what I said so far is you have a sovereign foundation. Your time in history, your gender, your birth, your skin color, your family of origin, all are uniquely packaged into the factors that go into your unique DNA, your design. Spiritual formation is the values formation, what's important, what's right, what's wrong. As a Christian, it's the beginning of the foundation of the integrity of your walk with God, and you're working out the ultimate priority of how you understand the kingdom of God and how it applies to you. Then we move into ministry maturity, which really in the workplace, if you're not in ministry, you're actually in the place where your gifts, talents, and abilities are being discovered. You discover that I do really good with management. I do really good with people. I do really good at idea and design or writing or directing or communicating. But you might also find that you're more of an analyst. You're more of a thinker. You're more of a refiner. You're more of a scholar. But your gift discovery and development happens in this stage. And what happens here is when you're doing what ultimately corresponds to your convergence, people want more of it. So life has a way of letting you know you're on the right track. If you're singing and nobody wants to buy your music, it might be that you're called to be a producer of music, not the entertainer or the songwriter. My point is this: when you're doing what you're gifted to do in your gift phase, you end up getting more opportunities to do it. The more you practice, the more you head towards convergence. But then there's this life maturing problem. This is, I'm going to put a little smoke right there, because this is when a lot of people feel frustrated because they're not making the money. Other people aren't giving them the opportunity. This is where you have jobs and you lose jobs. You have relationships, you burn them out. Maybe you do something unethical. This is the learning experience, right? This is where life teaches you. Ultimately, it's the school of discovery. But as you mature, working in different companies, working with different people, realizing what works, what doesn't, you find that 20%, now this is the part that's kind of interesting to me, 20% get to convergence. What does that mean? That means that 80%, a full 80%, actually quit the process. And there are different reasons why people quit the process, and it's tragic. When you have a vision for what you want to do and you give up on it, what do you do next? And so sometimes it's lack of support. It could be that in terms of spiritual formation, you haven't found the people. This is where the church comes in so powerfully. You haven't found the people, you haven't found the mentor, and you haven't found the models. What does that tell you? It tells you that somebody has to show you how the game works. Someone has to take you by the hand and say, son, you're doing this the wrong way. Here's the formula for the sequence of persuasion that sells online. Here's the way that you construct a broadcast so that it's powerful and compelling. Here's the way that you get distribution for a powerful and compelling broadcast. You never understood distribution, did you, kid? So, you need to have those relationships in your life. You need to be teachable so that you can learn from them. And then you need to take that into the package of building the character to sustain the calling. Now, when you get to this phase of life maturing, it seems like you're never going to get to convergence. But what happens is, catch this word, it's called divine appointments. What happens is God will set up the chance encounters. As you surrender your life to Him, He will put you in front of the right place at the right time with the right people. How do you know that you're in the convergence zone? So I showed you earlier over here this illustration of you could be doing a lot of different work, but when you hit this sweet spot right here, when you're there, you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. This is my calling. And here's how you know the micro convergences you've experienced. The moments when you've tasted your future. And I got some notes on this because this is so important. During your 30s and 40s, you're going through you're getting a taste of where you're ultimately going. Most convergence, by the way, in Clinton's research happened after 50. So it doesn't mean you don't achieve great things when you're younger. It means that for a lot of younger men, their ultimate purpose isn't how much money they made. You got tech billionaires in their 20s and 30s, still don't know what the heck their life is, what they're called to do on their second or third marriage, have kids that are in multiple genders. So success really is when you've got the integrated life, when you're doing the thing God called you to do, and you're bearing fruit that remains. It's something which you want to build on. So let me give you some characteristics of the zone when you hit it. It's a place where you're aligned with the harmonic convergence of what God called you to do, which means that just like the race car goes silent when it hits maximum perfect, what it's designed to do at the highest speed, you will experience something called timeless awareness. You will lose all sense of the clock. The clock becomes a mystery to you. You spend hours doing this thing. People that are engaged as chess masters, they literally could spend 6 hours, or a concert pianist with music, or a gymnast, or a martial artist. The hours that they spend, they lose track of time, because when you're in the zone of what is touching on your eternal DNA, you lose temporal time. And so you're not aware of time. Where'd the time go? That was fast. I got a great conversation. Wow, man, I can't believe it's over already. You also experience the future you. That's the person on the inside. That person there is not the person who's over here. Over here, you got to schlep around and do something else all day for work. But over here, that's who I really am. You feel more authentic when you're in that place. You feel like this is me. This is what I'm really meant to do. And it liberates you with more energy because you don't have to put on a mask. You don't have to act because it's really authentically who you are. You're 100% alive, obviously, because you're using 100% of your latent capacity. So all your talents and gifts are humming. The engine is moving at 240 miles an hour. People, like I said to you before, people want more. When you're doing that which you're gifted to do, people want more of what you're doing. And the challenge is figuring out how to monetize the talent so that you can pay the bills to stay in the convergence zone. And so those electric moments have happened in your past. And I'm wondering, when in your history have you had this happen? This is why we have a course, by the way. I do training on this stuff. Because this is the point where I would have you in my class and say, what did you gravitate to growing up? Who were you drawn to? Was it the intellectuals or the jocks or the party crowd, or was it the theater crowd, or were you a loner? Did you prefer to hang out with just one or two people? And when were you most alive growing up? What one job that you did in your history did you enjoy most? And what memories jump out to you about that job? What was the part that you liked? I had a job I liked so much. It was a sales job, working behind a counter at a big jewelry store. And I loved it so much. I loved the team. I loved helping people get what they needed. But I'll tell you how nutty I was. I worked on Saturdays when I was only supposed to show up Friday. And I volunteered freely to work because I loved the environment. It tells you something. Convergence is achieved by the 20% who have the right kind of knowledge about what they do well. My people perish for lack of knowledge is a Bible verse. But here's the good news for you. Convergence happens after 50, but it's never too late to start. It's never too late to become who you already are. Never too late to do what you're called to do. You just have to unpack the process. I want you to go to lancewallnau.com/wheel, and I'm going to give you the next step in the process for free. My mission in life is to equip people to do what they're called to do, if you haven't figured that out. And it'll explain to you how I unpack where you've been, where you are, to take you where you want to go. Well, that's all we have for today. Hard to believe we're out of time, but timeless awareness, when you're doing what you love to do, there's no time. And it's always a great time to talk to you about what you're called to do. So let's go back into here in our next episode, and we'll pick up our next module, because where we're going to go next, let's see, what's next after that? Oh, yes, we're going to talk about that wheel of life. That's why I want you to get the wheel right now, download it, and grab it, because we're going to go there with the next episode.
Most people never step into their true calling, not because they lack passion, but because they lack strategy. Your ultimate life strategy is the blueprint to unlock your gifts, align with your purpose, and build the life you are meant to live. Step into the convergence zone, where your talents collide with God's destiny for you. Go to lancewallnau.com/strategy. That's lancewallnau.com/strategy, and start living your ultimate life.
Did you enjoy this latest episode? Please remember to share it with your friends, because the more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to navigate